Genesis chapter 47. And Joseph comes and declares it to Pharaoh and says, My father and my brothers and their flock and their herd and all they have come from the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And out of his brothers he has taken 5 men and sets them before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh says to his brothers, What are your works? And they say to Pharaoh, Your servants are feeders of a flock, both we and our fathers. And they say to Pharaoh, We have come to sojourn in the land, for there is no pasture for the flock which your servants have, for the famine in the land of Canaan is grievous. And now, please, let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh speaks to Joseph, saying, Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Cause your father and your brothers to dwell in the best of the land. They dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you have known, and there are among them men of ability, then you have set them as heads over livestock I have. And Joseph brings in his father Jacob, and causes him to stand before Pharaoh. And Jacob blesses Pharaoh. And Pharaoh says to Jacob, How many are the days of the years of your life? And Jacob says to Pharaoh, The days of the years of my sojournings are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not reached the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their sojournings. And Jacob blesses Pharaoh, and goes out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph settles his father and his brothers, and gives a possession to them in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Rameses, as Pharaoh commanded. And Joseph nourishes his father and his brothers, and all the house of his father, with bread, according to the mouth of the infants. And there is no bread in the land, for the famine is very grievous, and the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan are feeble because of the famine. And Joseph gathers all the silver that is found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, for the grain that they are buying. And Joseph brings the silver into the house of Pharaoh. And the silver is consumed out of the land of Egypt and out of the land of Canaan, and all the Egyptians come to Joseph, saying, Give bread to us. Why do we die before you, though the money has ceased? And Joseph says, Give your livestock, and I give to you for your livestock, if the money has ceased. And they bring in their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gives to them bread for the horses, and for the livestock of the flock, and for the livestock of the herd, and for the donkeys. And he tends them with bread for all their livestock during that year. And that year is finished, and they come to him on the 2nd year and say to him, We do not hide from my lord, that since the money has been finished, and possession of the livestock is to my lord, there has not been left before my lord, except our bodies and our ground. Why do we die before your eyes, both we and our ground? Buy us and our ground for bread, and we and our ground are servants to Pharaoh. And give seed, and we live and do not die, and the ground is not desolate. And Joseph buys all the ground of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians have each sold his field, for the famine has been severe on them, and the land becomes Pharaoh's. As for the people, he has removed them to cities from the one end of the border of Egypt even to its other end. Only the ground of the priests he has not bought, for the priests have a portion from Pharaoh, and they have eaten their portion which Pharaoh has given to them. Therefore they have not sold their ground. And Joseph says to the people, Behold, I have bought you today and your ground for Pharaoh. Behold, seed for you, and you have sown the ground. And it has come to pass in the increases that you have given 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4 of the parts are for yourselves, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for those who are in your houses, and for food for your infants. And they say, You have revived us. We find grace in the eyes of my Lord, and have been servants to Pharaoh. And Joseph sets it for a statute to this day concerning the ground of Egypt, that Pharaoh has 1/5. Only the ground of the priests alone has not become Pharaoh's. And Israel dwells in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen, and they have possession in it, and are fruitful, and multiply exceedingly. And Jacob lives in the land of Egypt 17 years, and the days of Jacob, the years of his life, are 147 years. and the days of Israel are near to die. And he calls for his son, for Joseph, and says to him, Now, if I have found grace in your eyes, please put your hand under my thigh, and you have done kindness and truth with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt, and I have lain with my fathers, and you have carried me out of Egypt, and buried me in their burying place. And he says, I do according to your word. And he says, Swear to me. And he swears to him, and Israel bows himself on the head of the bed.